everyone, it's Sherry Carroll here with Hero Arts to bring you some embossing folder ideas for the holidays. I thought I'd do something different this month and show you a couple ways of using the large snowflake embossing folders. For this first card, I've embossed the snowflake in the center of the pool designer papers, and then I used a sanding block to sand it down. For my second card, I've used rock candy stickles to cover the snowflake to give it a really nice shiny effect. And for my last card, I've combined the sanding block technique and the stickles technique along with cutting out a little die cut tag and using the embossing folders on that. These are the two snowflake embossing folders, and I've already embossed my pool designer paper and it gives it a really nice texture. And here I've embossed the other snowflake on just plain white cardstock. Here's another quick peek at that card before I get going on the technique. So I have my paper embossed and I have a sanding block here, and I also am going to hold this over the embossing folder so that I don't squish down the paper. And so I'll just in circular motions just go around with the sanding block. If you can't find a sanding block like this, you can make your own with a little block of wood and sandpaper. You can either tape it or staple it over. So now I'm just continuing sanding until I have the distress look that I want, and once I'm done I can just kind of wipe away the excess paper. And here's how that's starting to look. It has really nice texture and the white core of the paper shows through. To finish my card off, I wanted to keep things simple, so I've just mounted that snowflake panel onto a white card. I've wrapped it with some ribbon, tied in a bow, and then I added some pearls in different sizes around the snowflake. For the next card and technique, I wanted to add some rock candy stickles to the snowflake just to give it a snowy look. So for the stickles technique, I have embossed my snowflake onto white cardstock, and here I'm just drawing the stickles on, and I'm laying it on kind of thick, and I'm just following the pattern of the snowflake. And here's a look at it while it's wet. As you can see, it's quite thick on there, and I'll just set this aside where I won't bump it and let it dry. I've allowed my stickles to dry for about an hour. My house is really dry right now, so it dries quickly. So as you can see, it's quite sparkly, and what a great effect. Here's my finished card. As you can see, the stickles looks great on there. So I've put the panel onto a top folding craft card. I've added some basic gray papers to the bottom and a few trims and bow. And I've also stamped my message along the bottom using Cup of Joe ink, and this comes from this great Hero Arts set, and it's the Celebrate the Season. So that fits nicely under the bottom of the card. For my last card, I wanted to create a layered effect, so I have embossed my snowflake on a panel of white cardstock, on designer papers, and also on my little tag. So I've already die cut my tag using the classic frame cut from Hero Arts, and I'm going to stamp a Christmas background, and this is a great, I believe it's Jolly background, and it's one of our new holiday stamps. And so now I'm just going to flip my tag over and align it up onto my stamp, and I'll put my piece of paper down and press around so I get a great impression. Once your tag is stamped, you can go ahead and put it into your embossing folder, and you can look at it as though the embossing folder is the front of the card, so you can kind of tell where your placement will be. So once you have that set, you can go ahead and run that through your die cut machine. To finish this card off, I've added stickles to the snowflake on the tag. I'm not sure how well you can see it. It gives it great texture. I've also added some foam squares to the back, and I've tied twine around the entire tag and added some poinsettias. For this part, I have embossed onto my designer blush paper, and I have used my sanding block for it, and also embossed onto my panel of white paper on the back side. So now I can just mount my tag and line up the snowflake. So I have 3 layers of snowflakes all on one card, and once it's ready I can go ahead and press that down in place. And here's how this looks. I've added a few finishing touches. I just added a few pearls here and there on the card, and I really like how this layered look turned out. And here's a look back at the first card, the Clean and Simple Sanding Block Idea card. And a look back with the white cardstock embossed with a snowflake and covered with stickles. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on using embossing folders, and hope you've found some ideas for your holiday cards this year. Thanks for watching.